This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is the After Party live on a Friday, and At the Movies with Tim Sika is just moments away from starting. Do want to thank you guys for sticking around. It was a long Mark Thompson show, big news day, so a lot to talk about. Thank you for bearing with us on that, and the show went over. The show is now beginning, and I'm super, super excited because Tim Sika has a lot to talk about, and I will welcome him right now. It is At the Movies with Tim Sika. Hi, Tim Sika. I can't hear you. Hello? Are you there? No? I don't have Tim Sika. I don't know why. At the Movies with Tim Sika. Testing 1, 2, 3. No? I can see you, Tim, but I cannot hear you. I think perhaps maybe you need to disengage and then come back. I don't know. While we wait for Tim Sika, there's a lot of movie stories to talk about as we kind of jump into everything here, and maybe Tim can go and come back. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I'm going to scroll into the comments, just making sure that I'm not the one with the audio problem here. Can you guys hear me? Just making sure. Yeah. Uh-oh. I'm not seeing any comments that you can hear me. Maybe it's me. Yes, we can. Okay, good. You can hear me, but hopefully you guys, let's see. Tim Sika, are you there?
I am.
There you are.
I am. You know what? I had a problem with sound on my end.
Okay.
Which is why I kind of had to go off, so I had to fix it. So anyway, no, you're doing everything right. I'm the one that's screwing up this week.
At the Movies with Tim Sika, on track to make it happen. Hi, Tim Sika. How was your week?
Oh, pretty good, Kim McAllister. Yeah, busy as usual. How was yours?
Good. Julia today left for drum major camp. Yeah, she's the band leader, and she twirls a little thing in front of the band, and Marcus with her little, yeah. So
what doesn't this girl do? I'm telling you. I mean, she's
busy. I'm telling you,
multi-talent. Yeah.
Yeah. She's big into the band at school. So she's at drum major camp, and Jacob just ended a week of basketball camp. So that's how the summer is shaking out over here.
Well, that's kind of good for you in a way because you kind of get a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're watching some things, though. We're watching a couple of things. Julia likes this show, The Summer I Turned Pretty, and we watched the first 2 seasons together, and the first 2 shows of season 3 just came out, and so we're watching that show together. And then Jacob and I are watching this really cheesy game show called Destination X.
Oh, geez.
It's where they take you on a bus to a certain city, and they give you clues to where you are, and you have to guess or you get kicked off. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, how's the first one with you're watching with Julia? Yeah, it's funny. I checked in with Netflix yesterday, thinking, well, I gotta look to see what I'm missing here, and that's the first thing that came up, and I thought, no, I don't think so.
Well,
I thought, no.
It's a teen kind of young adult show, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
But underage drinking and sex and things.
Oh boy.
So it's good to watch it with them. So if you can kind of talk about stuff as it goes on.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's really popular. It's also based on a series of books that are popular with the young girls as well.
The young set. Yes.
The young set. Absolutely. Yes. Well, let's get into these movies. You have the first one you have for us is I Know What You Did Last Summer. How many times are we going to see this movie?
I know, right? Just what we need. Another I Know What You Did Last Summer horror slasher movie. Yeah, although this one's they're justifying this as the sequel to the 1997 horror hit starring Freddie Prinze and Jennifer Love Hewitt, who return here, and we'll get to that because it's an interesting use of these characters. But this is the 4th movie in the I Know What You Did Last Summer horror franchise. There was the 1997 original. Then, if memory serves, there was a quickie follow-up a much lesser one called I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And then there
Mhm.
was even a lesser 2006 iteration called I Always Knew What You Did
Oh
Last Summer.
God,
But
bless
anyway,
America.
yeah, this is the direct sequel 28 years later. Oh, God. I think they make all these movies for Gen Xers. I don't know. Anyway, and the premise is virtually the same as that of the original 1997 movie. Five friends, they inadvertently kill a pedestrian in a car accident, and then, because they're afraid of the consequences, they cover up their involvement. And then, cut to a year later as they're trying to move on with their lives and get over this and getting over this trauma, this mysterious stalker brandishing what's got to be the most intimidating hook that is used to kill his victims, starts sending these kids like these taunting messages to remind them of what they did. Cards mysteriously arrive at their homes, for example, that read, I know what you did last summer, and you can't erase the past, things like that to trigger their trauma. And once, these kids get these messages, he kills them one by one. So, anyway, that's not a giveaway because that's all over the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, horror fans are going to go see this regardless of what I say. Objectively speaking, I think the film delivers the goods. The pre kill sequences, which is to say the build up leading to a particular killing, they're
Mhm.
really nicely directed. And oh God, they're all gruesome, by the way. No surprise there. I mean, these are really gruesome killings. Oh, Jennifer Caton Robinson is the director here. I don't know of her work, but again, this is another example of a major franchise being directed by a woman, which is
Mhm.
always good news. The manner in which the original stars, Freddie Prinze and Jennifer Love Hewitt, and their characters are incorporated into the sequel works well enough and even provides some needed humor for catharsis because you need some humor for catharsis in these
Mhm.
movies. I mean, what else did I like about it? There's some satiric jabs at contemporary culture in this movie. I mean, they really kind of lambaste podcasters and fandom and religion even. It's better than I thought it was going to be, which isn't saying it's any great shakes as a movie, but fans I think won't care. Um, it's it as effectively as it could, I think, and given the baggage of the two previous movie follow-ups, which weren't all that great, in addition to the short-lived TV series, which also wasn't that great, given all of that, the movie delivers in the way horror fans go to see these horror movies for. So, I got to recommend it, especially to Gen X horror geeks. It's also this chicks rule kind of movie too, which I kind of like. Sisterhood is the thing that
Mhm.
really, wins out at the end. And that was kind of a nice little twist. So, all in all, yeah, go
But
see
you
it.
don't. But you don't. You sound like
I
men.
know. I'm trying to, why? Because I'm trying to be objective. I, I didn't, to me, it's like being put through the mill. And,
Yeah.
as I'm sitting there, no, really, I mean, well, it's a testament to the movie too and how well it's made. The sequences that build up to the killings, God, I wanted to run out of the theater. I mean, they were good. They were
Yeah.
effective, but this is not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
kind of movie. And really, I mean, I think Nikki Maduro would love this
Oh, she'll go
movie.
see that.
Oh, she
Absolutely.
definitely.
Oh
You
yeah.
got to you got to see it for the
Yeah.
killings. I mean, they get more and more creative and more disgusting and more grotesque.
See, that's exactly why I wouldn't go see this movie.
Yeah,
But,
right,
we all
right.
have our own little tea to drink, right?
Right. But that's a calling card for a lot of people who do
Mhm.
want to see this stuff in
Yeah.
movies. So, I mean, I'm going to recommend it objectively.
Yeah.
Subjectively,
The next one on the list is called Eddington.
Eddington. Oh, brother.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Now, wait. I have a lot. I hope I can get out everything I want to say about this movie. Ari Aster is the director. He's the writer-director of this movie, Eddington, which is this small fictional town in New Mexico. This is being advertised as a Western, and it's sort of a Western. It's being marketed as a Western, but it's really not. And as with all of Ari Aster's movies, so I'm going to talk about here in a second, it it's just its own thing. It's a movie kind of hard to classify. First things, okay, a stellar cast distinguishes this movie. I mean, it's headed by this century's Marlon Brando, actor Joaquin Phoenix, who plays a sheriff during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And the drama unfolds in the form of this contested mayoral election fought between this sheriff, played by Phoenix, and the incumbent mayor of the town, played by Pedro Pascal. So it's a great, great cast of brilliant
Mhm.
actors. That's a good thing. And how would I best describe this movie? It's a compelling mess, is what it
Oh.
is. And it frustrated me to no end, as I would have loved nothing but to just dismiss it out of hand
Mhm.
because it was so frustrating. But there's enough in it that warrants a, qual- a qualified recommendation, although I would never vouch for anyone I would recommend this movie to that they would necessarily like it. In fact, they probably wouldn't. But I don't know. I mean, tastes differ. But first of all, okay, you got to get through the first. You got to get through the first hour of this movie, which is a kind of tonal slog. The middle section is what's compelling. It's actually a separate movie in and of itself. But if you've made it through the first hour, you're kind of rewarded with this middle section. But the last third or so, it's enraging because in my opinion, this film has no idea what it wants to say, what it wants to be, what it's about, or what the hell we're
Mhm.
supposed to take away from it. It hints at these things, but the filmmaker, Ari Aster, as writer, he just ain't up to the task, in my opinion, of effectively communicating what it is one thinks he might be wanting or trying to communicate. This script, in my opinion, needs several major rewrites. But anyway, that said, I wanted to talk briefly about Ari Aster. Given that this guy admittedly has talent, his movies, I don't know if you've ever seen any of his movies. I remember, I think we reviewed Hereditary on your show. Or no,
Okay.
maybe that was on KGO. I can't remember. Anyway, that's his best work. Then he did a really upsetting horror movie called Midsummer, and that was a compelling mess. And then he did Beau is Afraid, which is a cinematic affront to anybody who's ever seen it. His movies are a mixed bag. And to me, the biggest problem with any Ari Aster movie, and it's demonstrated here in Eddington, is that to me, this guy seems more concerned with impressing his audiences than he is in simply telling a good story. And that comes across with banners waving and with drums beating in Eddington, which is, I'm gathering from what I've stitched together, it's supposed to be examining the social and political turmoil and fallout triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic. But in my opinion, it's just inept and it's smug. For example, it almost seems like this movie is making fun of the mask mandate, which many
Yeah.
people refused to follow during COVID. It also
Mhm.
seems to be making fun of the Black Lives Matter protests, which
Mhm.
also happened during the pandemic, with the death of George Floyd. And it seemed like it was making fun of the people who participated in them. So if this is a political film, its politics, as presented here, are muddied and unclear and annoyingly ambiguous, not in the sense that all great art has that great art element of ambiguity to them, but you feel or you sense, or I felt and sensed, the director himself had very little idea what he wanted to say, but wanted you to think that he knew what it was he wanted to say. But he lacked the ability to skillfully weave all of what he wanted to say into a story that made coherent narrative sense. I don't know if that
I
makes any
wonder
sense.
why all of these people signed up for a movie that didn't really make much sense.
Well, I'm I could be any number of reasons. Maybe they thought it made sense. Maybe
Right.
they were their maybe their fee was being met. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just maddening
Mm.
that this film, it was filled with inexplicable and unexplained plot developments, unearned dramatic moments, and warning to all who are contemplating seeing this movie. The last 15 minutes seriously may cause you to run from the theater screaming.
Oh, no.
But this is me, not just always never being sure, and also trying to give the artist the benefit of the doubt. I'm recommending it because of the extreme visceral reaction it had on me, and apparently is having upon other critics and audiences as well. If I had to make a statement about the films of Ari Aster, and this film in particular, I would say talent, yes, but figure out first how to make a good movie before you get anywhere near a camera again.
Hmm.
And I wholeheartedly concede that I may be missing something, because
Okay.
this film really hit me, but it
Huh.
infuriated me. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I wish folks, who tune into your show,
Yeah.
who've seen this movie, would comment and tell me what I may be missing. So I don't know if any of what I said made any sense, or it's
Noah Fidian says, I am not contemplating seeing this movie. John Watson says, is Eddington as gruesome as Midsummer?
uh is it as gruesome as Midsummer? It has its gruesome moments. Yeah, it has its
Okay.
gruesome moments. Yeah, yeah. Because and I don't want. I know I'm not really giving any of the plot away, because it does. It takes these turns. It seems to be about one movie that
Hmm.
you're going. I'm. I felt like leaving after the first hour, but then it changes gears, and it becomes this kind of conventional. Um, uh God, I don't know. I don't know how to say this without giving anything. It becomes a different movie that's
Okay.
very easy to watch, and it's shocking, and you're going, where the hell is this going? And then you're waiting for the payoff in the last third, which never comes, and the last 15 minutes makes no sense at all, and you just want to throw up your hands and say, get me out of here.
Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, whatever.
and still you recommend it. All right.
I'm recommending it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the
Yeah.
next movie on your list is this one. Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight.
Yeah.
That's a weird title.
Well, yeah, the title, I mean, it's like say it's a South African phrase. It's like saying, let's not, no, let's not blow it tonight.
Mhm.
Let's have a good time. Don't
Okay.
don't let's go to the dogs tonight. And this is a tough but a very good movie. Written, produced, directed, edited, and starring actress Embeth Davidtz. She's a wonderful actress. She played Helen Hirsch in Schindler's List.
Mhm.
She played in Matilda. She was the kind teacher. She was in Bridget Jones' Diary. She was in the TV series In Treatment and Mad Men. I mean, she's a fabulous actress. And in this movie, she makes her feature film directorial debut, in which she also delivers this haunting performance as this mother grappling with God, imminent war and loss and mental illness and memory during the final days of the white colonial rule in Rhodesia. The movie's based on Alexandra Fuller's 2001 memoir about the experiences of her Zimbabwean family following the Rhodesian Bush War. So this is a war drama as seen through the eyes of a 7-year-old girl, which is probably the film's greatest distinction. The performance of this little girl, her name is Lexi Venter. She's never acted before. I don't think it has even had any acting experience. As we watch the unfolding of this civil war through this child's eyes, it's amazing. And it's a classically told kind of conventional drama, unlike Eddington. So it's way more accessible as entertainment. It's a little reminiscent of John Borman's. Did you ever see a movie called Hope and Glory? Came out in the 80s.
It's familiar to me. Mhm.
Yeah, but it's a British film, in that it's the experience of war through the eyes of the children living that experience. Although this one's a lot more intense than Hope and Glory. There were moments when I had to turn my eyes away from the screen because it was
Oh.
hard to watch. But I liked this movie enormously, and not to put too fine a point on it, but. And maybe I'm having a bit of a blind eye to the movie just as a movie when I say this, but as this testament, this very impactful testament to how would I say, artistic authorship, because this is coming from a female artist operating in a business and art that's dominated by men, as a testament to authorship and what it means to take full ownership of one's art. This movie, this drama, it's a major achievement because M. Beth Davids, she not only stars, but she produces, She wrote the screenplay, she edited the film, and she directs the film. In other words, she wears nearly every creative hat on this film, shaping its tone and performance and pacing from script to final cut. And was for me in the end a beautiful, heartbreaking, and breathtaking movie that navigates all kinds of things. It was an amazing balancing act, just as a director, to put all this stuff together. But she did everything on this movie. So in that sense, I think it deserves props. This performance by the 7-year-old girl played by Lexi Ventnor, whose point of view shapes the entire film, is extraordinary. We see this little girl's confusion and her fear and her quiet observations. I mean, and her performance was so real. And this was from a non-professional. I think just directing a child with no experience and delivering what this child delivers is an accomplishment in itself. But M. Beth Davis plays her mother and does everything else I've just been talking about. So yeah, powerful and poignant film.
Wow.
It's a powerful story anchored by an impressive directorial debut. And it's a testament also to the power of creative control. Whether she was behind the camera in the editing suite or in front of it, M. Beth Davis brought every part of herself to this story, and boy, does it show. Really good movie.
Wow. What's the name of the director? M. Beth?
M. Beth, Embeth, and her last name is like David with a TZ. David's, and she pronounces it David's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She's, if you saw her, you'd go, okay, I recognize this woman. I may not be able to say what she's been in. She's had an incredibly prolific career as an actress. But in this, she pulls out all the stops. I don't know how she got this movie made. It's just, even if it just turned out to be a mediocre movie, I would say, well, you know what? Support this movie, folks, because this is a major achievement. But it's also it's an incredible movie, and it's hard, but it's ultimately it's a feel good movie. But it's tough. It's war through the eyes of a little girl. I mean,
There she is. M.
yeah,
Beth Davis.
and Bet, yeah, that's I don't know what Mad Men. Yeah, I can't remember who she plays in Mad Men. I haven't seen that show in ages, but
I watched Mad Men. She doesn't, and she just does not look familiar to me.
doesn't ring a bell. Okay,
Uh-uh.
maybe okay.
But how cool that she's achieved such success here.
It's amazing. It's really an amazing achievement. So yeah.
The next movie that you have prepared for us is your classic movie wreck of the week. And you have chosen
I have
movie.
chosen, yes, from 1981, My Dinner with Andre. Have you ever seen it?
No, but
Okay.
I love the actors in here.
Yeah, the actors are great.
Mhm.
Okay, first of all, it's directed by Louis Malle, and it stars actor and playwright Wally Shawn and renowned theater director Andre Gregory, playing fictional characters named Wally Shawn and Andre Gregory. And that's the first meta thing about this movie. But this is a movie who, if you know the concept of ahead of time, would say, well, who would want to see that? The concept being a film about two friends having dinner at an expensive New York restaurant and having a conversation with each other. How would that even work as a movie, and would it even be interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the answers to those questions, check out My Dinner with Andre. This is so good. It's so rich. This conversation is so human, so fascinating, so doggone interesting. This conversation that these two men have with each other over a meal, which is in turns funny and philosophically speculative and observational about life and art and personal growth and the meaning of life and the death of culture, in a conversation that which is also in turns bizarre but ultimately moving. The premise is that the Wally Shawn character, he gets forced by an odd series of circumstances into agreeing to having dinner with a man, and once a very close friend who he's been avoiding literally for years, because what he's been hearing about this guy, that man is Andre Gregory. He was a world-renowned theater director who left the theater to go on this personal spiritual quest that involved a number of very unusual experiences,
Mhm.
culminating in one where he was briefly buried alive.
Oh
and,
God.
and yeah, and that he shares with Wally, who listens and listens and listens, and then at one point he reacts to all of this. But the Wally character, the Wally Shawn character, kind of, he was avoiding him, but he runs into this friend of his. He says, you got to go see Andre, because I can't put it into words. You just got to go see him and talk to him. So it's a riveting conversation. Watching it today, among other things, it appears to have been frighteningly prescient too, because of what it was predicting. It's the kind of conversation too that provokes striking images in the minds of the listeners to the conversations, or rather the watchers of this movie, because the conversation, Andre's relating of these experiences he's had in places like the forests of Poland or in the Sahara Desert, they're so vivid. The pictures his words conjure, well, in a format that is antithetical to the very nature of cinema. Two people talking in a restaurant over dinner, you think static. Well, it makes for kind of a mentally very cinematic movie in your heads, right?
Mhm.
Because of these conversations, they're so vivid. Anyway, I've seen this movie at least 20 times, and I'm always fascinated by it. It's just something you can watch over and over because these men are so interesting, and it's a one of a kind movie. It's as different as anything you'll ever see. It holds up like the Dickens today. Like I say, watching it, you would think that in many ways it was written yesterday, because it's very reflective of what we're going through now. And it's
Mhm.
what, 1981, what is that, 44 years old?
Wow. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, great movie. I believe it's streaming on HBO Max. So if people
Okay.
want to see it, but oh, it's wonderful. And another one of those great movies where you go to, and then you could talk for hours about what it is you've heard and seen.
So I was looking up this movie, kind of to look up the pictures of it, but I came upon this website that said this movie became a classic by having no plot.
Yeah, there really is no plot. It's just talk. It's talk, but it surprisingly builds in its own strange kind of way. Um,
Mhm.
it flows like, I mean, one of when you're watching this, you kind of wish that people had these kinds of conversations today.
Mhm.
I don't think people are capable of having these kinds of conversations today, because all they care about is like how many millions, Superman made in its opening weekend. I mean, this conversation is priceless that these two guys have. So yeah, see my dinner with Andre, folks. You'll thank me for it. It's great.
Awesome. Okay, streaming on HBO Max. Let's go back and do a little Tim Sika recap. I know what you did last summer. You said it's the fourth installment, which delivers what fans want. You said it's got some good build-ups, but some super gruesome murders, as is
Yeah.
the thing they do in this kind of franchise. You said it also has some good sarcasm and some sisterhood messages, and that you recommend it for folks who like this kind of movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Eddington, this movie you said has a stellar cast, but it's what you say, a compelling mess. You said if you can get through the first hour of this one, you get a reward in the middle, and then by the end, you're just going, what? It has odd, dramatic moments, strange plot developments. You called it smug and inept. Still, you recommended it because you had a big reaction to it at the end.
Yeah.
Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight. You said this movie is tough, but it's good. You said that this is a war drama through a child's eyes, which makes it hard to watch, but you really like this movie. You said it, and I thought this was poignant. It should be on the back of the movie box. Breathtaking and heartbreaking at the same time.
That
Um,
little girl, that poster boy, that's
mhm,
the little girl, Lexi Ventnor, the actress.
mhm.
She's just God. You want to adopt her after you see
Well,
this movie. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah,
and
I'm interrupting.
lastly,
Yeah.
Tim's classic movie rec of the week is My Dinner with Andre from 1981, streaming on HBO Max, you say. You said it's so good, such a great conversation, still resonant today. And you said it's really different and it holds up. And you recommend My Dinner with Andre, again, streaming on HBO Max. And there you go.
There you go. And you Kim and you and I should have a dinner and have a conversation and have somebody film it, and then you can play it, on your show.
I would love it. I have, although we have a conversation for every Friday at 1:30, right?
That's true. We do. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
We
we're
just
not
need to
eating though. We're not
we need
eating
to
while we're having the
add some
conversation. Yeah.
cocktails and some hors d'oeuvres,
Yeah.
and we'll do it. There
Right.
are a couple stories that I wanted to run past you, if that's okay. I know we may be over time. Are you busy? Can I keep you for a minute?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
I saw this story and I thought of you. This is from SF Gate, and
Yeah.
this movie theater,
Hmm.
they managed to buy the building.
Yes,
It's
they have.
something they've been trying to do for a long time, and they had this big fundraiser, and finally, they got
Yeah.
enough money
Yeah.
to buy the building, and it puts them in a really good place. So I thought we could celebrate that together. They call it their long-held dream.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Roxy Theater has been in the Mission District for 112 years. They say they wanna keep it going for 112 more years. And they're still raising money because they wanna do some renovations to the building. They have
Right.
this really old projector system
Yeah.
that needs to be upgraded and modernized, so there's still money to be raised, but they own their own building, and that's huge.
That is very, very huge. And the Roxy is a San Francisco institution. I've worked with these people before. I've moderated Q&As there before. They these are people that love they love movies and they
Mhm,
love the movie going experience. And I love the Roxy too because it has this sort of like it's in a neighborhood where uh, a lot of people go because it's this communal thing that they go to regularly and enjoy. They always present their movies in a professional way. The staff there is wonderful. When I heard that they were doing this and they were raising money to like actually buy the building, which is going to give them
mhm.
so much like room for growth, and I mean I can't wait to see what's going to happen to the Roxy. When I heard about that they were going to do this, I thought, oh man, that is a pipe dream. But through indefatigable commitment, whatever, they've raised millions of dollars. They just have a I think I read I think they still need about 700,000 to renovate the place because it's an
Mhm.
old theater. I just think it was some of the best news I heard last week, that they're going to own their own building. Yeah, and I can't wait to work with them in the future. Um,
It's huge because I remember doing a story for KGO about the closing of this movie theater
mhm.
on, I wanna say it was on Ocean, somewhere out as you head down to Ocean Beach. There was a movie theater on, how was it? I forget which street it was on, but the owners of the theater could make more money selling the land for condos.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's what happens to a lot of these historic places that, are so important to members of the community. They get raised because the
right,
owner of the building can make more money doing something else. So this
right.
is really protective for the Roxy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it gives them a lot of leeway to do
Mhm,
pretty much whatever it is that they want to do. And like I say, the people that work there are so committed to seeing movies on the big screen. They're committed to film as art. They just do everything right,
mhm.
in my opinion. And yeah, it's gonna be an exciting era now that they own their building, and as soon as they raise the remaining funds. Yeah, and upgrade the
Mhm.
insides. I'm gonna be spending more time there than
Mm,
usual.
alright.
Yeah.
The next movie, story I have for you is this one, and I think this is kind of weird. I've never heard of them selling tickets so early for a movie before. But this theater I guess
Yeah.
the movie
Uh-huh.
tickets are
Uh-huh.
being sold for this movie 1 year before its release, and they're totally sold out now. The movie is called The Odyssey from Christopher Nolan, and it's not due to be released for 1 more year, but they sold tickets for the early screenings of this a year in advance,
Yeah, I
and
heard
they
about that.
they
Yeah.
totally sold out. That's weird, right?
It's unusual.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if it isn't a publicity stunt.
Well, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, really, you know what? It's like this reminds me of, when award season comes around.
Mhm.
It's like November, December, January, or whatever, and the minute like these awards are voted on and awards are given, the studios are already like gearing you up for the next award season. I mean, it's almost like we can't be in the present moment sometimes. We've got to keep
Mhm.
thinking. I wonder about, I mean, look what it's doing. It's getting us to talk about this movie, which is a very expensive movie. I think the budget is something like 250 million or something, which means it's got
Mhm.
to earn at least 3 times that amount before it breaks even.
Listen
It
to the
could be a publicity stunt. I mean, I don't know when they offered these tickets, who they were sold to.
Mhm.
I'm sure that people do have. I don't. No, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what to believe half the time. It sounds like a great publicity uh, stunt to me because it's raising awareness because the movie
Yeah.
isn't finished yet. So. I don't know. It is very in response to what you said. It's very unusual. I've
Well,
never heard about this.
I'll help them with their publicity stunt. Listen to the cast of this movie.
Oh, I know the cast is amazing. Go ahead.
Matt Damon,
Yeah.
Tom Holland as his son,
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o,
Oh, yeah.
John Bernthal,
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway,
Yeah.
Charlize Theron,
Yeah. Mhm.
Zendaya, Robert Pattinson. I mean, it's a star-studded cast.
No, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's also a Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, who
Mhm.
did Oppenheimer last year, and they finally gave him an Oscar for that. Yeah, his movies are always stimulating and interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like he's got the Midas touch. He
Yeah.
spends tons of money on his movies, and he does everything they say Hollywood should not be doing so much anymore. That they should be like more conservative in their budgets and stuff.
Right.
He just does his own thing, spends $200 to $300 million on a movie, and his movies make billions of dollars. So go
I
figure.
know.
Yeah.
The last movie story that I have for you is about Citizen Kane. This sled with a little rosebud
Oh,
on it,
Rosebud. Yeah.
it went up for sale,
Oh
at
God,
the at
what
the
did it
auction
get?
house. That's what I wanted you to guess. How much do you think the
Oh
rosebud sled
God.
sold for?
Okay, I will say at least, God, I don't know, 500,000.
Oh, Tim Sika, you have lowballed the rosebud sled.
I knew it. I knew it. What did
It
it get? 2 million or something?
14.75 million.
Wow, who bought it? I wonder. Oh my God.
It
Well,
is it's
it's
the
a, it's
second
a.
most expensive piece of movie memorabilia ever sold.
What's the most expensive piece of movie memorabilia ever sold? Do you know?
The, article
Wow.
says the ruby slippers from The Wizard of
Oh,
Oz.
yeah. Well, there've been several pairs of the ruby
I
slippers. So,
know, but they went for 32.5 mil. So
what do
they're the
you
most
do? What
expensive.
do you do with something? I mean, it's cool, but what do you do with something like that? Put it in like a bulletproof glass case in your
Yes,
house or
yes.
something?
Mhm. That's what you do.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I can't believe it. Boy, I really lowballed the rosebud bud sled. But yeah, no, I didn't know about any of this, but amazing. Yeah. Well, that's considered, one of the holy grails of movie memorabilia.
Amelia,
Movie memorabilia.
th
Memorabilia. Blah, blah, blah.
Delia,
Yeah.
this is one of only 3 rosebud sleds known to survive, and it's been in the custody of Gremlins director Joe Dante since he discovered it while working
Ah,
at the old RKO Pictures studio lot in 1984. So he
wow.
put it up for sale at Heritage Auctions.
Yeah.
It goes for 14.75 million. He said, "I've had the honor of protecting this piece of cinematic history
Hmm.
for decades. To
Hmm.
see a rosebud find a new home and make history in the process is surreal and deeply gratifying. He called it a testament to the enduring power of storytelling.
Wow. So who gets all the money?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, did he donate it to the auction house, or how does
It sounded like it sounds like it he gets the money. I
Yeah,
don't know. That's
well,
what it sounds
yeah.
like to me. He
Well,
found an old prop, took it, and sold it. That's what it sounds
yeah,
like.
I guess so. Let's hit up Joe Dante for our next feature film budget here. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I did not know about any of this, so I appreciate you telling me about all these cool things.
Yay!
Yeah.
At the movies with Tim Sika. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Kim. Talk to you next week.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Bye bye.
Bye. At the movies with Tim Sika. Always love to have Tim on the show, of course. Fridays at 1:30 Pacific time here on the After Party Live. And I pull the video separately, so you'll also find it under the videos on the After Party Live channel here on YouTube. Do you want to get to this story as well? Because look at how cute this little guy is. He's really cute, unless there's 50 million of them and they're all streaming into your town. Uh-oh. That is what is happening. These ground squirrels are taking over a North Dakota city, and officials in this city are scratching their heads thinking, "Well, what are we going to do?" It's called a Richardson ground squirrel, is the name of this creature, and they're small. They weigh less than a pound. They're about a foot long, and they're native to the northern plains, and they tunnel. Boy, do they tunnel. They dig and they dig ferociously. This is exasperating the people in the town of Minot, North Dakota, Minot, Minot, or Minot, perhaps. This creature and his friends are burrowing everywhere, all over the place, in vacant lots, in the middle of town. They've been doing it for a while, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. This town in North Dakota is their fourth largest city. And now they have hired this pest control guy, and they say they're trying to fight back against the squirrel, squirrel brigade, you could say. They say everybody has to be on board too. The quote is, if I'm trapping, but my neighbor isn't, then we're not going to get anywhere with this thing. So the town has 50,000 people in it. The squirrels have been a problem for 20 years now, but it's gotten a lot worse in the last few years. They don't even know exactly how many of these squirrels live in Minute, but they say it likely exceeds the city's population. And again, there's 50,000 people in this town. That's a lot of squirrels. They say there has to be tens of thousands of these in the town. It's crazy. They say they just can't get rid of them. They don't see the population ever going down to zero, but they're trying. They say there are also coyotes and badgers and owls and snakes that love to dine on these squirrels, so they are getting some help from nature. But in the residential neighborhoods and in the downtown area in this town, these rodents can pretty much roam free. They said also no land is safe. The ground squirrels have about 6 babies a year. So they say the numbers can multiply pretty quickly. Yeah. This is a big problem for this town. They damage the driveways, the sidewalks, the lawns. They create tripping hazards with their holes. They can harbor diseases from fleas. At one apartment building, they dug under a concrete slab against the foundation. The yeah, the people at ground level apartments have a big problem with them as well. So there's an air base, like a Minute Air Force Base near town, and it houses bombers and intercontinental ballistic missiles. They have been fighting these squirrels for years. They call them DAC rats. Ugh. They say there are millions of them out there on the prairie. So they're in the schools, like they're everywhere. They call them a cute nuisance. That not everyone finds them to be a problem. Some think they're cute and fuzzy. Some people sabotage the traps and throw them out. So He shouts apparently at people, the pesticide guy or the Terminator guy, for at people for not helping get rid of these things. They say they get the cute association that they're adorable, but they're a vermin when they're allowed to proliferate. So they're inundated and trying to take steps to get rid of them. I will say they are kind of cute though. Yeah. So are mice, but I don't want them in my house. Nope, not at all. All right, I do want to get to the lotto of the day. Here's this guy. Look at him go with his $2 million. Paul was a double winner. He accidentally bought two identical Powerball tickets, when one just isn't enough. He's from Massachusetts, and he bought two tickets, same numbers, same everything, for the same Powerball drawing, and he ended up with two $1 million prizes. So there you go. He said he bought a ticket for 7 Powerball drawings and mistakenly thought the final drawing had already occurred, so his next purchase included a second ticket for the July 9th drawing. He meant to buy it for the one after that. But the two tickets with the same combination of numbers both earned him $1 million prizes, so he gets $2 million. He said it feels good to win dual prizes, and he doesn't know yet what he is going to do with all that money. And we'll give you a second one. This is another guy who wins twice in the same month. This man played the same lottery game. He's from Arkansas. And he bought a scratch-off ticket less than a month after he won the same amount from a different scratch-off ticket. All right. So his name is Travis. He bought a $20 50,000 frenzy ticket from the Come and Go store in Little Rock, and he scratched off a $50,000 prize. It's the same prize he won earlier in July. He said, "There's no way I want to get on the same ticket." He credits his second win to doing a good deed just before buying his ticket. Like the universe cares that you help somebody across the street, right? He said he actually gave $100 to a stranger in distress right before he bought this ticket, and his good karma paid off. Maybe the universe does care. He says his winnings will go toward purchasing a car and buying his stepdaughter some new volleyball shoes. Well, he's got an extra $100,000 now, so go get it. Can we let's end the show with this story about ancient elk petroglyphs, because I saw these pictures and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. Look at that. These rocks sitting in the middle of a field, completely unprotected, and yet the petroglyphs have weathered storms and erosion, and still you can see the outline of the animals here. Really cool. The ancient elk petroglyphs in Mongolia are said to show a 12,000-year shift from realism to wolf-like symbols. They did a study on it. It's in the Cambridge Archaeological Journal, and the researchers say it reveals this transformation in images of elk. It's 12,000 years of Altai rock art in Western Mongolia. At one point, they drew these elk in realistic detail, and then it evolved over time into these stylized, almost unrecognizable wolf-like figures. So the thinking is that it's reflective of the differing environment, the mobility of the people that were drawing these things, and their identity as well. They have one of the most continuous rock art traditions in this region. It's called the Altai region, and it's where Mongolia, Russia, China, and Kazakhstan meet. And of all the prehistoric carvings, they say the elk held a special place here. In the earliest paintings, the elk were drawn in natural poses, sometimes with their young. You can see the little mini elk right below, right? So sometimes with their young as well, or with other animals like mammoths or woolly rhinos. And the early depictions carved in the profile had realism. The animals had legs, these type of things. It showed that there was a knowledge of the natural world. But over time, particularly in the Bronze Age, the images changed and the elk started to become more dynamic. They were inserted into human activity contexts like hunting, and later they became even more abstract. The elk became more elongated, the antlers more exaggerated, the facial details distorted into a snout or beak like form, and eventually the elk no longer resembled the real animal, but it turned into some kind of symbol or maybe a status, an identity of a clan, perhaps, maybe a spiritual belief. They don't know exactly. Given the weather and the time that these petroglyphs have been exposed to the elements, they say it would have been out of the question for painted images to survive the outdoors in the Altai Mountains. There is only a single known surviving painted elk image today, and it's in a cave. So they think that the developmental change of the elk petroglyphs reflects a social and environmental change as well. The attractive elk environments were receding at the time. The elk were shifting to different areas, and the people had to shift as well, go to higher altitudes. The thinking is that the rock art attests to this shift, and the carvings appear at greater elevations over time. I have another picture of it for you. So you can see how realistic those look, right? With the antlers. Can you believe this has survived for 12,000 years? And this one does look a lot more stylized. So, fascinating to think about who was there and who did that. Hey, you know what? If you fancy yourself a bit of a rocket scientist, because I know you guys are smart, right? You're better at trivia than I am. See yesterday's show for information on that. But the folks at NASA, they think you're pretty smart too. And they think you're so smart that you might be able to help them design a new ejection system. They are looking for the public to help design ideas, come up with ideas, help design possibly things that can be incorporated into the next design of speed flight vehicles. They have a problem. There's a capability gap in there, and here's what it's called: the Stratospheric Projectile Entry Experiment on Dynamics, or SPEED. It's a two-stage stratospheric drop test architecture. So I'm not the one who's going to help them because I have a hard time picturing what even the concept is. All right? Basically, it's this gap that NASA flagship missions need to reduce system risk and allow more optimized designs via margin reduction. They still don't have me. Here's the quote: "As current ejection system designs are conceptual, complex, and untested, NASA is looking for alternative ideas that can be incorporated into the design of their next iteration of speed flight vehicles to increase system reliability. So," they write, "we are challenging the public to design innovative concepts for a separation mechanism that can be used to assess NASA and commercial reentry vehicle stability." And they're going to pay you. The winnings, $7,000 in prize money, $3,000 if you're first place. That's it? For that great of an idea? The successful outcome of this contest is a credible 3D model of a separation mechanism that is both cost-effective by using easy-to-manufacture methods like 3D printing or laser water jet cutting, get to work, Wes, and commercial off-the-shelf COTS parts that don't rely on high-energy systems like explosives. So the challenge started on Monday. It ends on September 8th. I know that you were thinking, what am I going to think about over the weekend? And this is your answer. You're going to think about your design for the reentry system. All right. And remember me when you win the $3,000. It's only $3,000 for all of your work. If you did want to participate, that's the website. There's a lot more information there. Grabcad.com. Grabcad, GRABCAD.com is the website where you can participate. Who knows? Again, you guys are brilliant and you likely have some great ideas. So I thought I'd throw that out there as we head on into the weekend. Zero Sum Hey says, hey, listen, I used to make mean spitwad shooters back in the day. All right. How about pull a string from the inside? There you go. Now you're cooking with fire. Just disclose the TR3B. I don't know. Yeah. Not this. Lucky for me, says Nolophidian. I'm not smart enough to do that. Whatever will you think about this weekend? You guys, thank you for being here. Thank you, as always, for your patience with the show start time. Thank you for the emails that you send. By the way, I had a great email yesterday from Tammy. And somehow yesterday we got on the conversation during the show, or the topic of conversation, about ancestry, and I mentioned something about that. It turns out we share a common ancestor, this John Billington, who was the first colonist or the first person executed in the Plymouth colony, I believe, something along these lines. He was a murderer, as a matter of fact, shot a neighbor. Anyway, we share this ancestor. So Tammy and I are distant cousins. I thought that was pretty funny. We got on an email ancestry kick. So thank you for the emails. Thank you for the participation in the show. Huge thank you to Wes for coming in with another $5 today. Really appreciate that. Marilyn G with a recurring PayPal monthly payment. Also James S., Karen K kicking in some funding as well. Another one from Wes. So thank you so much for helping crowdfund the After Party Live and keep it rolling. I do hope you guys have a great weekend. I will say that next week, a couple of programming notes. First of all, Mark will be gone Thursday and Friday. I'm hosting Thursday and Friday at this point, I think. So that looks like what's happening. And then the Nikki Maduro show is live next week as well on Thursday at 5 p.m. I hope you have a great weekend. Please make it the very best one you can. And send me the messages. If you see any good stories or you have any thoughts pop through, you can find me, Kim@theafterparty.live. Kim@theafterparty.live. 10 more to go until we hit the goal of 2,500. So if you know anyone you can get to subscribe, please have them subscribe. And don't forget on the way out to click the like button. All right. As said, have a great weekend. Make it the very best one. And I'll meet you back here on the YouTube on Monday. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Tiny bubbles in the wine makes me happy, makes me feel fun. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over with a feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. Oh, here's to the golden moon and here's to the silver sea, but mostly
everybody, here's a toast
to you and me.
tiny bubbles.
Hear the wine makes me happy. Ooh, makes me feel fine. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over. With the feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time.